Hi everyone. In the UK, the population of England and Wales saw the biggest annual increase in 75 years due to the growth driven by immigration. Though these are estimates, you can probably guarantee the numbers will be a lot higher. UK's Reform Deputy Leader Richard Tice says his constituents are steaming mad and absolutely furious about the migrant crisis as the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, delays limiting foreign workers until 2025. Throughout this video there is more than one way to look at things, and not just the things we are being told.
We need to talk about this, and let's talk about it with the brand new MP for Boston and Skegness. He is the Deputy Leader of the Reform UK Party, Richard Tice. Welcome, Richard.
Very good evening to you, Kevin. You never thought you'd say that, did you? You didn't have any trust in me, but we did it, Kevin.
Yeah,
the MP for Boston and Skegness. I've been hard at work for constituents, and let me tell you, they are steaming mad about this issue of the boats, Kevin. Absolutely furious. It's actually one of the reasons why I was elected, to be honest. The illegal migration as well as the legal migration, because it's just completely out of control. And tragically, we've had deaths since Keir Starmer was elected Prime Minister. And we've had, what is it, give or take 1,200?
It's 1,185 migrants have come into this country across the Channel since Keir Starmer became Prime Minister. As you say, 4 died, 63 had to be rescued. And I mean, I would suggest this is the result of getting rid of all deterrents, not having a single deterrent. One of his first acts was to release 92,000 deportees who were ready to be deported to East Africa. What does he expect? I mean, you know, I know you won't want to pat James Cleverly on the back, but when James Cleverly, now the Shadow Home Secretary, said, Labour have effectively hung on the White Cliffs of Dover a sign saying everyone's welcome, he's pretty much right, isn't he?
No, he's completely wrong, Kevin. He hung the banner on the White Cliffs of Dover. He hung the banner 2 years ago. The useless, incompetent Clotterly is responsible for this mess with their daft Rwanda policy that was never going to be a deterrent. It was never going to be allowed. And they never had the guts and the gumption and the courage to do what was required, which was to leave the ECHR and to pick up and take back. It's only Reform UK that has that clear policy, and that's the only policy that will stop the boat. So we're not going to take any lessons from the guy who's responsible for this absolute fiasco.
You're absolutely right. You put me right there. The sign has continued to be hung on the White Cliffs of Dover.
I think maybe Keir Starmer's just cleaned it.
Yes, but they are calling the migrant smugglers, the people smugglers, are apparently calling Keir. Yeah, it's just cleaned it, sharpened it up a bit, made sure you can see it properly. But so they're calling Keir the friendly one, and they're offering special Labour deals of €1,500 to get across the Channel, which is the cheapest ever. And all they can come up with, this is, I think, the crux of this argument, Richard. All him and Yvette Cooper, the new Home Secretary, can come up with is this thing called Border Security Command, which is all about smashing the gangs, smashing the people smuggling gangs. And they are shamelessly mischaracterising what the essence of this crisis is all about. The essence of this crisis is about migrants, the number of migrants who keep coming. You can go on about smashing the gangs as much as you like. As long as there are migrants, there will be gangs. And with this approach by Labour, we have no chance of solving this crisis whatsoever.
It's just the same as drug taking, Kevin. As long as people want to take drugs, there will be drug dealers. It doesn't matter how many you lock up for whatever sentence. Money motivates and money talks. And the reality is that as long as we can keep being incredibly generous with free accommodation, with cash, with food, with heating, with mobile phones, SIM cards and free Wi-Fi, then guess what? They will keep coming. And look, the reality is that the Tories themselves have been freeing tens and tens of thousands under their own sort of effective amnesty. They lost another 20,000 plus conveniently in the system. No one knows where these people are. But I can tell you, in my constituency of Boston and Skegness, in Boston, I mean, frankly, you can. There is so much illegal and legal migration going on that you just see it out on the streets, and it's intimidating constituents. I've had constituents during the campaign and since the campaign saying they will not go into Boston because it's too dangerous at night, because effectively large parts of it are a no-go zone. And that's what I'm there to do, and I'm going to banging the drum. I've been meeting council leaders today. I'll be meeting the police. It's completely unacceptable. And it's not the leafy streets of Islington where people feel this intimidation, this harassment. It's in market towns up and down the country, including in my constituency. My constituents are steaming, raging, furious about this, as am I, as are, I think, millions of people up and down the country. It won't stop, Kevin. We can all bang on and bleat on about it. This will not stop until you pick up and take back and leave the ACHR. It is as simple as that. And they appear to be massing on the beaches and coastline in northern France. The numbers will keep growing. It's a crisis throughout the whole of Europe. And until there's some proper leadership on this that we've been talking about, but is completely absent, this goes on, and the cost to the British taxpayer, both financial, but also the impact on the quality of our lives in our towns and villages and cities, will continue.
Absolutely. Now, before the good people of Boston and Skegness elected their brilliant new MP, I did several stories about your constituency and talking to local councillors and that, and they were, I don't know what the situation now is, but they said they had all these seafront hotels. It's a seaside resort, and they were full of migrants. The hotels have been commandeered, migrants have been put in. So that is like literally taking away the livelihood of Boston and Skegness. Starmer has said, oh, we're going to take them out of the hotels. They won't be in the hotels anymore. Well, I hope that's true, but where's he going to put them?
I'll tell you exactly what's going on. Yes, they're taking some out of the hotels, and the majority have left the hotels, thankfully, in Skegness, and actually credit to those who organised that before me. But they are being put into housing which otherwise would be occupied by British citizens, young British citizens. So it's putting huge pressure on housing, houses of multiple occupancy. And all that's doing is essentially, it's driving up rents in local areas. And I'm afraid to say, and I know people won't like it and they'll pillory me, but it is driving up antisocial behaviour. It's as simple as that. So we have to face into this, and that's one of the things that I plan to do, is just to keep talking about it. I'm learning as I go along. I was out on the streets in Boston late at night last night, and I have to tell you, frankly, it was a pretty intimidating place. Blimey. With groups of young men just marauding around the marketplace, and the number of women who've told me they don't feel safe at night, leaving the shops where their staff members or going into town. This is the impact of this absolute carnage up and down the country.
I'm glad I got you on, because I can ask you what you felt. I mean, this alludes to what you were just saying, Richard. J.D. Vance, the new vice presidential running mate to Donald Trump, announced last night. We played a little bit of footage of him saying that him and a friend were discussing, what will be the first Islamic power, the first Muslim country in the world to be a nuclear power. And they concluded there already was one, and it's called Britain. So I suspect that might be slightly over the top, but it does key into what I think a lot of people are very, very worried about. There are 4 MPs in Parliament now who are exclusively pro-Gaza, exclusively pro-Palestine. The Muslim Vote organisation is devoted towards getting politicians elected into the British Parliament purely on Muslim tickets, purely on pro-Palestine tickets, anti-Israel tickets. There is a feeling that we are quietly being taken over. That's what J.D. Vance is referring to. Donald Trump has backed him up. What are your thoughts on this?
I've been saying for many months that we are at Everest Base Camp of sectarian politics in Great Britain. We hope we're sort of seeing less of it in Northern Ireland. And so it's no surprise to me that you've got a few Gaza MPs. It turns out they're independents as opposed to George Galloway's party. But look, that is the reality of it. I do want to say, though, Kevin, that there is a significant difference between the vast majority of hardworking, aspirational, peace-loving Muslims and the small number who have a very different view about what they want to achieve, what culture they want to live in, how they view the rights of women, and what law, frankly, they want to be under. And there's a very important difference, which I do think we need to recognise. And our own new chairman, Zia Youssef, is a brilliant Muslim entrepreneur, knows how to grow businesses, and he feels the same way as we do on this, that we've got to talk sensibly about this issue and identify the difference between the extremists and the vast majority who actually just want to get on with raising a family and educating their children, working hard and contributing, and there's a difference there which is important. So that's my thoughts on that. But look, we have to be brave enough to talk about this stuff, and to say the role of any British government is to look after British citizens and to make us more prosperous and to improve the quality of our life. And if you have mass immigration, be it lawful or unlawful, guess what? If the economy doesn't grow, then we all get poorer and the quality of public services and healthcare declines, and people quite rightly get very, very cross about it.
Absolutely.
Do you think this is all being deliberately done by our government? Do you think this is a deliberate demographic change? And if so, for what reason? Let me know down in the comments, as this is one subject I think is only going to get worse in the future.